Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
You there, Drew? Where are you? Drew?
Sorry, mate. Yeah, just
I apologise if I just woken you up, have I? Or I mean, looks like I've risen the bloody dead, to be honest with you.
Actually, mate, after the week I've had, that is not far from the truth.
Really?
I mean, well, it's been Halloween, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I know, obviously, it's not. Is it Halloween? Where are we? I can't remember. Is it Halloween's Monday or Tuesday tomorrow?
Oh, no. It's been our week of Halloween.
That's what I get.
Halloween events, yes.
Yes.
Halloween events. So, slurp of coffee, I'll be with you.
Yeah, well, that might wear you out. Well, I will join you in a slurp, but obviously mine is the beautiful golden nectar.
Amber.
Yes.
Lovely stuff.
But, so mental week then, I guess.
Really enjoyable, but we're just skipping from event to event to event. So yeah, there's been sort of like changes in the middle of the day, changes at night, stuff. So yeah, it's all good though. But yeah,
keeps you out of trouble or in trouble as the case may be, and
as the case may be. Yes. And where have you been?
Not so much this week. Admin week, voiceover bits and other stuff like that. Applications, jobs, self tapes, yada yada yada. One little show, but mainly preparing because final week of tour next week. So, right. Yeah, the final few shows of How's Your Father, which it's been brilliant. I've loved every minute of doing it. The guys have been great. Audiences have been fantastic. Responses. I mean, because it's mainly aimed at social workers and things like that. There are feedback forms, and some of the stuff that's been written on them has been fabulous. Not just from an acting point of view to sort of feed our egos or to justify what we're doing, but the comments and the influence we're having and the effect that the show as a whole is having, really, really positive. So yeah, just lovely to hear. So going to smash it out of the park for these last, I think we got 4 or 5 shows left this week, or this coming week, I should say. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Well done, mate.
Then no breather, because then straight into other shows, other stuff, and eventually Christmas. So it's all on the go, isn't it? But
it's all on the bubble, mate. All bubbling away.
Lots happening. Speaking of happening, what have we got in the world of entertainment to report, Drew? What is on your radar?
Well, there's been a few stories. There's been some theatre. There's further to the concrete story that we're talking about. Oh, yes. The theatres closing. Some theatres, I think. There's the Studio Theatre at the Orchard is reopening, so that's good news. However, some are having to. They're looking into the inspectorate are looking into more theatres and more public buildings. I know they've gone into schools first. Because it's harder to close those, I guess, than theatres. Thanks a bunch. But yeah, the news is positive, but for some theatres, but again, they're doing further checks now. So it may mean that other theatres will have to have a short closure. Let's hope not before Christmas. Let's hope that we can get those pantomime seasons that are so important for finances for theatres. Let's hope those can happen. But yeah, so that's been one of the main news stories of the week. It took a step forward but a step back. Obviously, the other things, there have been so many panto launches. I've been going through stuff. It's great news that there seem to be, I think I was reading on one of the pantomime platforms that there are more this year. So theatres have come out of the mothballs. So it's really good that, as we know from our own experience and yourself, it is so important for theatres to have this income. It keeps them going for a long time. And the fact that there are more being produced this year than last year and previous years is great news. So that is really good news.
For people that want to hear more about Panto, don't forget we had him on a few weeks back, the wonderful Simon who runs Panto Magazine. So Panto Magazine is out there. Go and check it out. You can hear all about what's coming and where things are being put on and everything that goes into it. And you never know, if you buy a certain, I think it's September issue, there might even be a familiar face in there.
Ooh.
Say no
Ooh.
more. But yes,
Say no
so lots of pantos coming up, and that is just having had years where there were barely any, and then there were a lot less than normal because of recovery from the unwelcome guest, respectively for both. Yeah, it's just heartwarming, isn't it, to see that things are, and I hate the word, but are we approaching normality, perhaps, or certainly familiarity anyway?
Yeah, let's keep those fingers crossed. As always, well, not as always, that's a dreadful thing to say, but sadly, there have been a couple of celebrity losses this week. One actor who I loved, and because I put myself in the sphere of character actor, was Burt Young, who people remember as Paulie, Rocky, Rocky's brother-in-law, Adrian's brother. And I mean, it's looking back, it's very. I mean, Rocky was 1976. 1976, that movie was made.
Wow. Did you want to put that in perspective for you?
No, I'd rather not, actually.
11 years before I was born, mate.
Wow. I was 16. So there you go.
Yeah.
But it was a fabulous act. I mean, it was such a lovely performance he gave in that movie. But I mean, he did 6 more. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. And the last one, I think, he was mentioned as Paulie had passed away, so they killed the character off long before we lost Burt. But I mean, interestingly, he had, and I don't know whether it was just an urban myth, but he always claimed to have had a bit of a boxing career. He fought, if it's to be believed, and let's hope it is, because I don't want to speak ill of the dead. But he always said he fought under 3 aliases and had 17 fights, and I think he won 17 fights and he lost a couple. But I mean, he was a wonderful guy. I mean, he was born in Queens in New York. He was a real New Yorker, a proper New Yorker, and he didn't have great aspirations to be an actor. But I think he attended with a girlfriend or a friend. He attended a couple of classes with Lee Strasberg.
Oh, wow.
And Lee Strasberg kind of discovered him. And had he not gone into acting, or he could well have ended up on the wrong side of the tracks. He fondly said, a couple of his very close friends from that period both ended up doing 100 years in jail. They went one way, he went. But I mean, he had a tremendous career. I think I'm going to double check my facts. He was 116. Yeah, 116 film and TV credits.
Incredible.
Just absolutely stunning actor. I loved him. And someone described, I'm just going to look through my notes because I've really enjoyed looking at Burt.
Yeah.
But he was described as, or he described himself as all burly on the outside, but quicksand on the inside. He sort of kind of, Yeah. And he was sent in many times. A lot of actors went through Burt to get to film roles. They said, suggest me for a role. He said, I'm a little bit frightened of, people like Sam Peckinpah and directors like that. And Burt Young used to go, I ain't scared of nobody. I don't fear nobody, was what he used to say. So he would just approach directors and go, I got a great guy for you. This is my friend from wherever. So he made, lots of links with people.
He was brilliant, the go-to guy, clearly.
Yeah. And he ran his own restaurant, Burt Young's, which was in the Bronx in New York. And he thanks Lee Strasberg for basically saving him, but also giving us fantastic character actor. I loved him really well. He was born Gerald DeLuise, which is just a beautiful name as well. Became Burt Young. I don't know how Burt came about, but
so that normally you hear when you find out a famous person's real name, it's kind of either very run of the mill or not very catchy or whatever. I mean, famously, they originally Arnold Schwarzenegger was called Arnold Strong because people said oh, your name will never catch on. And there are various other, particularly in rappers and musicians, you tend to hear like they've got a really cool name when actually their normal name is quite boring. Another one that springs to mind is David Tennant, because I believe his real name is David McDonald, but David McDonald's a 10 a penny in Scotland. So, and there was already someone registered under that. But so there are lots of, but his real name is almost more, well, it is more fancy than his stage name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird.
But I guess Burt Young suited that man who just, he famously, he was one of the directors working with him, and they turned and went, "We need somehow to end this scene," and he just turned to Burt Young and went, "Burt, give me a look," and that was how they cut the scene. Burt just looked at camera or looked at someone and went, "Cut on that. That's it."
Wow.
Burt, give me a look, and he goes, brilliant actor, fantastic, and I mean, I love the Rocky movies, and I love the thought that Burt Young, who was in, Rocky's Corner for a minute, actually might well have been a boxer himself, but under 3 aliases, it's like, and
God knows what names they would have been, because
exactly,
why?
Yeah, but also someone else with an amazing actor, but someone else with a possible alternative career. I mean, the wonderfully talented, beautiful lady, Hayden Gwynn, passed away a few days ago as well, and I look, you see it, you see actors and you see it, and they're known for, a particular thing. What I think one of her breakthrough roles on television was Drop the Dead Donkey.
Yes.
When she tried that really dry, sardonic television presenter.
It won multiple awards, didn't it?
Oh,
I can't remember.
BAFTAs. BAFTAs and all sorts of Scriptwriters Guild awards and all that sort, and for Hayden Gwynn herself, she was nominated for many awards for the show. But then, I found out that, again, looking back over her career, she'd done some amazing musicals.
Mm. Billy Elliot, wasn't she in Billy Elliot?
She was. She was in Billy Elliot. She also did. What else other musicals did she do? Oh, she was in the Great British Bake Off. That was her last musical role in the West End. Oh, she played a character called, I think, Pam Lee, which was a kind of Prue Leith character. Yeah.
Amazing.
And she was she was Prue Leith with cartwheels, they said.
Yeah. But if I remember rightly, she was she did Billy Elliot was Broadway, wasn't it? And I want to say she won awards for it. I can't remember what they were, but she was also nominated for numerous Tony Awards,
Emmys.
I'm trying to. What's the other one? Completely blown.
Emmys, BAFTAs, all sorts of stuff. Screenwriters Guild. She really across the board. But in between that, an amazingly accomplished stage performer.
Olivier's. That's what Windsor. She nominated numerous times for Olivier Awards as well. So, yeah, just a very stunningly talented lady.
Stunningly stunning, and flew quietly. Just one of those bedrocks of British. And I think one of my favourite roles that she played, and I think she actually plays the role better than the real woman herself. If you know it, she played Camilla, Queen Camilla, in The Windsors. Now, it's one of those shows that it's Marmite. You either like it or loathe it. I just like the fact that there are some extraordinary, ridiculous performances there. Harry Enfield as Charlie is hysterical.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think she plays Camilla better than Camilla. It's like amazing,
unbelievable. But yeah,
she also played Margaret Thatcher opposite Helen Mirren's Queen in the audience. So she had such a breadth of talent, amazing performance of the RSC and on stage, and and then she had this amazing musical talent. It just shows that. But she also was a very successful tennis player. She played, I think it was for Surrey.
Really?
She played. Yes, she played. I'm just looking it up now. She was a tennis player for, I believe it's Surrey or Sussex, and could well have been, a very successful tennis player. Just, you never know these things. So yeah,
incredible.
But younger boxer, Hayden Gwynn, successful tennis player.
Amazing, and I'm going to apologise in advance, but I'm not going to apologise because we are an entertainment podcast. We talk about theatre, film, TV, modelling, stunt performers, lots of different things, makeup artists, all everything that's involved in sort of the entertainment industry. So when we talk about sad losses, we obviously focus on those. This next one I want to mention isn't, but as a staunch Manchester United fan and an enormous football fan, couldn't not mention Sir Bobby Charlton. Sad passing of Sir Bobby Charlton. Just an unbelievable man. The footballer who conquered it all. So Golden Boot, World Cup, European Championship, arguably, and very few would disagree, although I say arguably, England's best ever footballer. So yeah,
it was he a survivor of the Busby Babes? Was he one of the he was? So I mean, he came through an enormous, one of the biggest football tragedies ever.
Yeah,
to actually stand there, and I always think, he represented all those people that he lost, all those colleagues he lost. I think he said it was a dream come true when he played for Manchester United, but to carry on after that, that's some man, isn't it?
Yeah,
some player.
I mean, there was an event, and I remember reading about this where I believe he got presented with an award by his brother Jack Charlton, and he said, "Bobby Charlton, the greatest footballer to ever play football, and also my brother." And it's just, wonderful. A wonderful, wonderful man. He did so much for football, for charities, through football. He just did so many things. And as I said, a big Man United supporter, he was just the most important person for the club of all time, probably. So, yes, he was not a performer in the traditional way of looking at it, but someone that I just wanted to mention as well.
Hi everyone, and apologies to myself and Drew for interrupting, but I felt the need to add a little bit extra to this episode retrospectively. So as you all know, we record the show during the week when Drew and I have an opportunity to, in between other filming and theatre and modelling and whatever projects that we've got going. So we try and fit it in as best we can and as close as we can to the day of release, so we're as up to date as possible with all the latest news and goings on in the world of entertainment. Now, in this instance, we obviously have just mentioned some sad losses in the industry and outside of the industry, but as we've been editing and working on the post-production side of this episode, sadly, we've lost another couple of people who I didn't feel it was right to not mention. So I just wanted to add in our condolences to the family of Mr. Bill Kenwright, an incredible theatrical producer, named for things like Joseph, Evita, Blood Brothers. I mean, the list is endless. He was a huge part of so many theatrical productions, and just it is a great loss to the industry. He will be sorely missed. And then also Richard Roundtree, who is possibly less well known by name, but very well known by his character, or someone that he originated. And he was the first person to take on the role of Shaft, and the same role in a couple of sequels. He was also an incredible actor, and just another person who was in so many different things. It's very difficult to name a lot of them. Obviously best known for Shaft, but he was also in the film Seven with Brad Pitt. And he did lots of smaller projects as well, and is another big loss to the industry. So anyway, I'm going to let the boys, well, myself and Drew, get back on, but just wanted to add those bits in. It's always going to be the case that we will potentially miss some sad losses or some very important news because we don't have the facility to record 5 minutes before the episode is released. But where possible, if it's certainly substantial or important, we will try and add those bits back in. But anyway, forgive me for my interruption and for my attire. I've just got back from the gym, but now it's time to let you get back to me and Drew. Cheers.
So can we let's raise a drink to all those, and equally we are well aware we won't talk on it because it there's so much of it going on at the moment, so much talking about it. It's not our place to talk about it and bring politics or things like that into it, but also to all the sad losses in everything that's going on around the world at the moment. We'd be here all day if we were talking about things like that, and we are not belittling what is going on. So yeah, just to all the sad losses around the world at the moment for whatever reason. Cheers to you.
Yeah. Good point.
But yeah, do you know? It's blown my mind. Like the two sad losses in the theatre and performance world, but both of them could have gone a very different route. Like, both could have been, or perhaps were. We don't know the full extent. But successful sports people, you don't often hear of that, do you? Sport. We've said before, sport and performance. You don't tend to be high level in both.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I know we've spoke about what we might have done or had done before, we went into this wonderful industry. And reading about Burt Young and Hayden Gwynn, I did a little bit of research. And we've spoken about a couple of people before, alternate careers, but I have got a fascinating list of what people did before they became.
Have you really? What, fascinate away, Drew?
Well, obviously, we spoke, but there are a couple on here. What have we got? Okay, I've got a list. I'm going to turn my page. Look, I've got paper.
Oh,
if you're listening to me, I'm rustling the paper. There we go.
Paper. That's for anyone under the age of 30. That's what you used to use before iPads.
Yeah, yeah. I've moved on from a slate and chalk piece of chalk, mate.
Engravings you used to do on the wall of your cave.
That's the one. Yeah. Because we've killed all the bison now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, we know about Harrison Ford, who was.
Yes, we talked about Harrison Ford, who was a carpenter, wasn't he? I think you said we talked about things we do. I think that was right back in our first season, mate. And we may well have referenced Harrison Ford then, because famously was he doing carpentry on a set, and that's how he got picked up or something. There's some connection.
I think he did. He built someone's house as well, and he put a roof on someone's house or something. And it was a set or something. Yeah, and it was like that took him into the business.
Yeah, apologies, I interrupted. But
no, not at all, mate. No. And we spoke a little while ago about Glenda Jackson, who was wonderful actor, beautiful actor, Oscar winner, became successful, strident, powerful, strident, wrong word, campaigning Labour politician, and then went back to being a genius actor. I mean, it's like, how dare you be so bloody talented?
Yeah.
But no, brilliant. But I mean, there's like, did you know that before being the actor that we know and love, Danny DeVito was a hairdresser?
No,
he was a hairdresser, and he actually worked in his sister's salon, and he loved it because he said, here I am, this little fella working in the hairdresser, surrounded by this bevy of beauties. He said, and this is not meant to be, but take it as it was said. He said, and I'm the only straight guy here. He said, who could want for anything better than that? And then went off and made Taxi and became enormously successful. But so he was a hairdresser.
If you'd said to me, name an actor who used to be a hairdresser, he would have been quite far down the list.
Yeah, but there you go. Hugh Jackman was a PE teacher.
That I can sort of see a bit more, because he's a very fit guy, and he's very sort of physical in his performances and stuff, and
but he was a PE teacher in Uppingham School in Rutland. So a big shout out to Uppingham School in Rutland for letting us have Hugh Jackman as the wonderful performer he is. Thank you.
That, yeah.
I love this one. This one really made Whoopi Goldberg was a beautician, but Whoopi Goldberg specialized as a morgue beautician. Yeah.
Okay.
So she would go into, I mean, and it's a very, I mean, I actually know I met a guy, a musician once, who did the same thing, but she went into and she would do the makeup and the hair of people, because, they have a lot of open caskets in America, and that style of a funeral. So she would do the makeup and hair of the deceased. Which
here's one for you. So and don't quote me on this, because I remember reading an article, and I'm sure this is true, but obviously people do your research and feel free to write in and tell me I'm an idiot if it's wrong. But I believe Angelina Jolie wanted to be an undertaker. So slightly linked to what you're talking about. I'm sure I read somewhere that I think she said that there was a death in the family and it really upset her, and she wanted to help people and wanted to. So she wanted something. She wanted something to do with being an undertaker, but could be completely wrong. But it just, when you were talking about, just rang a little bell in the back of my head. But so Whoopi Goldberg,
and on her first day, she was saying when she did it, was a long while ago. Her first job was she was an old-fashioned morgue. He said in those days there weren't the big doors and that, so they kept it very, very. They had to keep it very cold. You couldn't seal them as well as you could these days. Naturally, it kept cold. And she walked into the morgue and she said, I was young and it's my first day and I didn't quite know what. And I'm looking around, sort of going, hello. She said, I couldn't see any dead people. She said, and suddenly this drawer shot open, this big puff of condensation, steam or whatever. And the guy, the owner of the morgue, sat right up, went, hello! And that was scared the living daylights. Apparently she turned around, ran into the door and knocked herself out. So, that was her introduction to...
Jesus. I mean, that's clearly his thing that he did for everyone. It must have been.
Everyone got that.
Wow.
Yeah. But,
terrifying. But
brilliant, isn't it? Brilliant.
I've just thought of another one. And this one is an interesting one because it's sort of performance related. The very beautiful, very talented Margot Robbie, who is obviously in most things at the moment because she's so bloody sought after. I know that she went to circus school, and I believe she trained specifically in trapeze.
Wow.
Which, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but in Suicide Squad, I think she got to do some trapeze bits, albeit very, very limited, I think. But I seem to remember her being on a trapeze in that film. So I think she got to, although it was not the skill she pursued overall, I think she then did get to use it. So
wow, didn't know that. That's a good one. That's a great one. Then there are a couple of others. There was Stephen King when he was young, and I mentioned him because although a writer, his books have been turned into so many movies that he is so associated with the screen, with movies. When he was working in a laundromat, he was working as in the laundry industry and writing at night. And every time the bills would come in, his wife would go, "Please think of a monster." Think of a monster. They needed the money. So So he was he worked in the laundry when he first started out. He was writing. Yeah, end of the month when the bills came in, think of a monster.
I mean, I was waiting, and then this is ridiculous, but when you started telling that one, I was just waiting for you to say he was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. But I think I think that may be more suitable for others. In fact, of all things, that's probably very, very common in the world of performance. We know many people. And people we work with that do work in the catering industry because it's one of the easier ones to work around things, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to get in and out of things like that. Talking of getting in and out, one of the weirder ones was Christopher Walken.
The weirder one. You've talked about Danny DeVito being a hairdresser and Whoopi Goldberg working in a morgue, and you're about to go weird, right? Okay.
Well, Christopher Walken for a short time was a lion tamer.
No, what?
Well, I mean, he called himself a lion tamer. What he used to do is he worked at a traveling circus. I believe he was around about 16, 17. And at the end of the act, the official lion tamer would step out, and then Christopher Walken would walk in. Then apparently there was one lion left in the ring. The others had exited. And then Christopher Walken would get in, and he would get this lion to do tricks, to do the last trick. So roll over and do all those things. So for a short time, he called himself a lion tamer. So there you go.
How do you go from... How? Just how? Like,
but let's face it, if you were a lion and Christopher Walken walked in the ring, you'd do what he told you to
oh
do.
God, yeah, I mean,
There's no arguing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're king of the beasts. I mean, you've just been one-upped. So
Yeah. But isn't that fascinating?
Did he get a command out there? Because you know what I mean?
Yeah, brilliant. I would, yeah, fantastic. But there are a couple of really, really serious ones actually, because there's one.
I have to just say, side note, I love when you go down a rabbit hole. Like
I found one, mate. It's great. I mean,
you'll go off on one, and I'll recall like random things like I have done. But you'll go, no, I like that fact. I want to know everything else relating to that fact, and then we get to experience it. Both myself and all our lovely listeners and watchers, we get to experience it on the pod. So
thank you, mate. Because no, my last two are quite. There's one that's fascinating because way back, screen actress during Hollywood's golden era, one of the most beautiful women, she's absolutely beautiful, Hedy Lamarr. Now I'm going to say that, and some people go, I know what you're going to say, Drew. Because Hedy Lamarr I don't think she had any official qualification, but she was an inventor. And she had like a laboratory in her home. And on many film sets, when she was filming for MGM and the like, she would have a table, a little laboratory, an inventor's table that she would sit at and work at. She was fascinating. And thank God she did, because we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing today without Hedy Lamarr. Because, she was born in 1914 and she passed away in the year 2000. And in 2014, so 14 years after her death, she was inducted into the Inventors Hall of Fame because she invented something called frequency hopping technology. Now, I don't pretend to understand that.
It's got the word technology in, so it's not.
Well, yeah, exactly. But frequency hopping technology, she invented this. It earned her the name the mother of Wi-Fi, because without that, we would not have Wi-Fi, we wouldn't have GPS, and we wouldn't have Bluetooth. So she invented this technology. It was used, I believe, for all sorts of communications, particularly during wartime. But her technology led on to so much stuff. And I say, without it, we wouldn't be sitting here today. So Hedy Lamarr, one of Hollywood's great beauties, great actors, also a great brain.
Super.
The last I finish with someone that another character actor who I love is Steve Buscemi. Again, people might know, but he was a New York firefighter before becoming an actor.
I know where you're going with this one.
And you go, okay, New York firefighter. He went on to other things, but you take it out to someone like, I mean, during 9/11, Buscemi, I don't know what he was doing at the time, but he put his script down and he volunteered for 12-hour shifts for, I believe it was a whole week, maybe longer, but a whole week of 12-hour shifts, I think with his own crew, his old crew, but he just went down there to help search for survivors in the rubble. He never, and I believe he never sought to have any, recognition for this. He just knew as a firefighter, ex-firefighter, he was needed. He went and did it. And I just think that selfless quality was just amazing. He was eventually made honorary battalion chief of New York Fire Department. They recognized him. But I just think that says something about all those people, that there was, they never set out to be famous, but they've become famous. But, all those wonderful skills that they had maybe have led into what they did. But I mean, I did go down a bit of a rabbit hole, but I found it fascinating.
No, incredible, and I think it's a big advert for don't forget where you've come from, sort of thing.
Yeah,
you may end up using things may be relevant. I mean, I'm not suggesting that Christopher Walken's likely to need to come up against lions at any point, but you know what I mean.
You never know.
There are those skills and those things that we learn on the way, and we've talked about stuff that we've done previously, and just the world has funny ways of working, and you end up on a certain path, and while you set out to do what you're doing now, you trained in that. I didn't, and that there is no right or wrong way to get into something. But along the way, we have these experiences and we do these different things. And I think we are lucky to be able to remember them and talk about them. And equally, very lucky to be in the world of work that we are now. And we'll never take it for granted.
Certainly not.
We are lucky, very lucky to do this. And we should feel fortunate to do this, which we do. And equally, on the other side, there are people and many people should feel fortunate that there are performers creating these things for people to be able to receive. So I think it's we should be very grateful on both sides. And equally, if people didn't do these weird and wonderful things before they were actors, we wouldn't have had this episode. So
there we go. Yeah.
Because be honest, mate, we're pretty much at the end, aren't we? We haven't got a great deal of time left.
No.
And the good thing is that we are not at the end overall. That is not far off. I mean, don't mean overall end, but we're not far off from the end of the season. But we have a couple of episodes left before we go into our best ofs, including next week's episode, which I'm rather excited for because it's not just us. We've got another talented individual gracing us with their presence to talk about an area that we've sort of half chatted about and dived into, but can look at in a very different way next week. So very much looking forward to that one. And as always, mate, looking forward to chatting to you. So brilliant. Well done for getting through your Halloweening and whatever. Yeah, good luck with the preps for Christmas and stuff. And obviously I will see you next time with a visitor.
And enjoy touring, my friend.
Thank you, mate. Last week, I'll make the most of it. But
enjoy it.
Until next week, have a good one. Everyone at home, as always, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.